Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today's video will not be an easy one to record or to watch, but it's an important video, especially for everyone who cares about humans' life, especially children's life. Very often I see comments not just under my videos, but under other people's videos about children of Gaza, how they have been killed, the level of sacrifice, and I agree. However, I also want to bring your attention to those children that might be your neighbors, might be your family members, might be children of someone who you know, maybe your son or your daughter goes to school and it's one of their schoolmates. You never know. So today's video I dedicate to absolutely horrific things, absolutely evil things that are taking place. And I hope you stay with me all the way to the end, because the last clip that I have for you that I came across on Instagram, and this is from the UK, is absolutely, I'm speechless. I'm literally speechless. Of course, I've heard about things of that nature, but I think when you hear it again and you see it presented on the video as far as the official and British Parliament talking about it, that's a serious stuff. So let's start with the video that some of you probably know about this case. This took place in Holland, in the Netherlands. And I will start with this. Let's take a listen. This is very, very recent tragedy that took place in the Netherlands.
The Netherlands is in shock after the brutal murder of 17-year-old Lisa, who was returning from a party in Amsterdam on her bicycle. The girl called the police and said she was being followed. Unfortunately, before the patrol arrived at the scene, she was brutally murdered. The probable perpetrator was arrested shortly afterwards at the refugee center where he lived. The brutal murder of a 17-year-old girl has shocked the entire country. The Dutch media are reporting extensively on what happened on Tuesday night. Lisa left the center of Amsterdam around 3:30 a.m. after a night out with friends and was riding her bike home when she noticed that someone was following her. The 17-year-old called the national emergency number. The police located the teenager using her phone, but it was too late. When the team arrived at the scene at 4:15 a.m., Lisa's dead body was found in a ditch on the side of the road. The teenager was brutally murdered. The perpetrator is a 22-year-old man. The authorities and media have not disclosed his ethnicity, but it is known that he was detained by the police at a refugee center where he was living illegally. He is suspected of 2 other violent sex crimes. The crime sparked a nationwide debate on safety. The slogan, "Right to the Night," has become a symbol of protest against growing violence against women in the Netherlands, as well as against blaming victims, for example, for provoking with their appearance or being in the wrong part of town at the wrong time. We all have 24 hours in a day, 24 hours that we can use however we want, wherever we want. Meanwhile, in the United Kingdom, protests are sweeping through many cities, including London, Liverpool, and Newcastle, against the state-funded hotel accommodation of tens of thousands of asylum seekers. Regular protests have also been held outside the Bell Hotel in Epping, Essex, after an asylum seeker staying there was accused of sexually assaulting a 14-year-old girl. The government in London is legally obliged to accommodate asylum seekers in hotels, which in recent years has generated increasing costs and met with increasingly strong criticism. According to Home Office data published on Thursday, the number of asylum seekers accommodated in hotels stood at just over 32,000 at the end of June. This figure is up 8% from around 29,500 a year earlier. This is a discussion about costs, but also about internal security. A similar discussion is also taking place in the United States. After sending the National Guard to fight crime in Washington, D.C., it is now to be sent to Chicago for the same purpose.
So, I really am honored that the National Guard has done such an incredible job working with the police. And we haven't had to bring in the regular military, which we're willing to do. We have to. And after we do this, we'll go to another location and we'll make it safe also. We're going to make our country very safe. We're going to make our cities very, very safe.
Next year, the European Migration Pact is to come into force in Poland. The costs associated with accepting illegal migrants are currently estimated at nearly 1.5 billion zloty. At the same time, Poland is already seeing an increase in organized crime and crimes committed by foreigners.
So that girl in the Netherlands, Lisa, I think was her name, it reminded me the story of Claudia that was brutally murdered in one of Polish cities, and I reported on this for you guys in a few videos, actually. So now, since we mentioned United States, so let's go to United States for a moment. Let's look at the very quick video from a few days ago. This will be from Palm Beach, from Florida in United States.
Palm Beach County Grand Jury has indicted 27-year-old Josue Mendez Salas and 23-year-old Pablo Cabon Mendez on multiple counts of sexual battery on a child under the age of 12. Both men, originally from Guatemala and living in West Palm Beach, were recently arrested after the 7-year-old victim bravely came forward. Investigators say the abuse was not only frequent, but brutal. The child was reportedly sexually abused almost every day and beaten with a belt.
So, pedophiles, right? Evil. What is the punishment for that kind of thing in state of Louisiana? Just give me a moment, everyone. I have to find the right post. It's right here. Just give me a second. So in Louisiana, just if you know, well, I didn't know, I've learned it 2 days ago. The state of Louisiana becomes the first US state to allow surgical castration for child abusers. Let's read this. This law, which took effect on August 1st, 2024, so a year ago, allows judges to order surgical procedures for crimes involving minors under 13. So like those two, for example, that were just shown, that girl was 7 years old, they would absolutely qualify for this. Louisiana had already allowed chemical procedures since 2008 using medication to block testosterone and reduce libido, but this measure was rarely enforced. Around the world, surgical measures of this kind are also permitted in countries such as Madagascar, the Czech Republic, I didn't know that, and Pakistan. So guys, what do you think about it? I actually think this is a very reasonable way to deal with this sickness. Maybe I am being very raw and brutal and not like a lady, but how else? How else you stop those people from doing this? And this also includes politicians, can I just say? Everyone, absolutely everyone who abuses the child. So now I want to take you to an article that I came across today, another interesting case. I'm sure it's not the only one. This is also from United States. Let's read this. United States, USA, an 11-year-old girl gave birth to a child at home. Parents claimed that they did not know about the pregnancy. Interesting. So now the question is father the father? Or maybe they were making money on using this child to be abused by men who impregnated her. Let's read this. American media report on a shocking event that took place in Muskogee, I think that's how you say it, or Muskogee County in Oklahoma. An 11-year-old girl gave birth to a child in mid-August. Her parents were detained and taken into custody. The birth took place on August 16 at home without medical care. Cherry W., 33-year-old mother, and 34-year-old stepfather, Dustin, probably, maybe, I don't know, no assumption. I feel like he could be the one, initially argued that they did not know the child was pregnant. The girl did not go to school, so there was less chance that the pregnancy would be noticed by an outsider. She has not been to the doctor for over a year. She went through something terrible. Not only did someone make her pregnant, but she also gave birth at home without medical help. This will stay with her for the rest of her life. Janet Hudson, Deputy District Attorney for Muskogee County on Oklahoma, told News on the 6th. Stepfather as the father of a newborn. Yeah, see, I didn't read the full article, so here it is. No surprise, huh? The 11-year-old mother and stepfather were detained last week, initially facing charges of child neglect. According to NBC News, DNA tests later showed that 99.9% of the father of the newborn is Dustin W. See, I didn't read the entire article, just the headline, kind of like the normies do in this case, but the father was charged with sexual abuse of his stepdaughter. The mother, in turn, might be responsible for allowing the use of her child. Mother and stepfather face life imprisonment. The media reports that the couple also looked after 5 other children aged 2 to 9. They were supposed to be in deplorable conditions, without clothes and among dog feces. The children were taken away from the couple. Cherry W. and Dustin W. face up to life imprisonment. The court set a bail of $100,000 each. To me, this one absolutely qualifies for the castration, in my opinion. Who knows, maybe other children were also abused. Now, guys, I want to take you, and this is, like I said, this is not an easy video. I'm just trying to like toughen myself up to talk about it, because I don't think this has enough attention. Like, people look at other aspects, of course, wars, etc., or, you know, things of that nature, but this is abuse that goes on around you. Like, this can go on daily and you don't even know that this might be in the same building where you're living, or the same neighborhood, absolutely the same country, right? Okay, so let's go to this video that I came across yesterday. And this is something very, very awful to listen to, but I decided to play it for you. This guy posts a lot of videos, a lot of truth on Instagram, and that's where I found it. So let me mute myself. Take a listen. This is not easy to listen to, but this is raw truth. And how we gonna manage this as humanity? How we gonna manage this as citizens? And what kind of people we are allowing to be in the government, who are allowing this to continue? It's a very, very important question. Let's take a listen.
Have a 12-year-old girl feeling like she has to carry around a knife, and there's a grown man going up to her, videoing her, and her sister is shouting, "Don't touch my little sister, she's 12." This is Europe. This is happening in Europe. A snippet from a video on X. I can't show it on Instagram or it'll be taken down. But that little girl has gone viral, and I'm sure there's people wondering why she felt that way. I want to show you a video now where a woman describes one case. This is one case out of thousands that happened in the UK to little white girls, children. It's pretty graphic, so if you don't have the stomach for it, you can turn it off. But I think it's important people know what's happening.
Finally,
So before we play this is the part that is really, really disturbing. This lady in British Parliament, I believe she is. I don't have the full-length video of that girl that was shown in Scotland that was protecting herself, 12-year-old, with a knife, but I'm sure you can find it because it went viral just a few days ago. So let's listen to this woman. I'm so glad that there is someone like her who is actually presenting this in details, so people maybe, I don't know, maybe they react, maybe they do something, those people who are in power. So let's take a listen.
I would like to read to the House one particular ordeal, just one example of what these children have suffered. I must warn colleagues, and especially those in the gallery, that this is extremely graphic, but we must not look away or sanitize this evil. Sentencing Mohammed Karar of Oxford to life in prison, Judge Peter Rook said, "You prepared your victim, a 13-year-old girl, for gang anal rape by using a pump to expand her anal passage. You subjected her to gang rape by 5 or 6 men. At one point, she had 4 men inside her. A red ball was placed in her mouth to keep her quiet. When she was 12, after raping her, she threatened you with your lock knife. Your reaction was to pick up a baseball bat with a silver metal handle, strike her on the head with it, and then insert it inside her vagina. This is not about me. It is not about the minister or the Home Secretary or any of us in this chamber. It is about them. Little girls up and down our country whose brutal and repeated rapes were permitted and hidden by those in the British state whose job was to protect them. They deserve justice. In 5 towns, these children and their families may get partial answers. But I have mentioned 5 towns in the last few minutes alone, and there are at least 45 more. In those places, they will get no answers at all. What does the minister have to say to them? The British people deserve to know the truth. What darker truths does the suffering of these girls reveal about this country? And why won't the government find out?
You have a
This is the 3rd time I listened to her, so it was easier for me to go through this video. You know, I wonder sometimes people with those huge YouTube platforms or much bigger platforms than mine, they don't talk about it. Why they don't bring the details? I tell you why, because they are afraid that, you know, the channel might be removed or the videos will not be monetized. You have no idea how many videos recently that I put out for you guys have not been monetized. But I believe that God provides and you will be absolutely taken care of. You do your part, you speak the truth, you highlight the evil, and you seek justice. And if you don't talk about it, people don't know about it, they just put it under the rug because money is more important, other things are more important. I don't know, this is just my opinion. It's absolutely horrific what is going on. I have so much compassion, and it's heartbreaking what is taking place in Gaza, for example, with the children that died and are still starving. But look at those children. How about those children? So that's all I have for you, everyone. Thank you so much for watching. I really, really appreciate you, my audience, for being with me all this time, for subscribing, hitting thumbs up, sharing the videos. There is like a new feature on YouTube. I think I was just notified that you can so-called hype the video by giving the points or recommending it. So if you see any video on my channel that you think you can suggest to people you know, or just on your social media, that will mean a lot to me. And to those of you who choose to support my work, I will do something now that normally you don't see many content creators do. I will show you how much I make monthly on Patreon. And this will give you a scale of, maybe you were thinking that, you know, it's a lot of money. because you can see other people how much they make. Some of them, they show it. I don't, but that's why every donation you make helps me a lot, and I keep on going. So if you choose to support me on Patreon, you have the link down below. This is my monthly income, still money. It's not in thousands, but this is per month. And I have 35 supporters. I'm immensely grateful for all of you guys. Thank you so much for everyone who joined me on Locals as well and donates on PayPal. You have my Instagram down below as well as every other link that I brought to you today. And that's it for today, everyone. Lots of love. And remember, we are the leading edge and we are saving humanity. And I see you in another video. Bye, guys.